Hello guys, welcome to the next video tutorial on Java programming for beginners. Till now we have seen the procedural part of Java. Now from this video we will see some of the object oriented aspects of Java, and first of all we will see what are classes and how we can declare classes in Java and how we can use classes in Java. So first of all, what is a class? You may have noticed that whenever we have created our first program, it was a class, and inside this class we were calling this main method. So every Java project has at least one class and one main method. And class is basically a data structure or type inside which you can define some variables which are called member variables and methods which are called member methods. And the most important property of classes are you can create instance or object from class, so you can maintain different states of a class using these instances or objects. So let's see how we can define a class which will be a new class and how we can use it with our main class, which is my class. So for example, we want to make some student data structure, and for that we will make a class. So just go to your project if you are using Eclipse and go to the package you have made. We have made a lesson 1 package at the starting of this video series. Go to that package inside which you will be having a class, my class in my case. Just go to the package, right click the same package and go to new and create a new class. And this class name, we will name it as student. Okay, and leave everything as default and click finish. And now we have this student class inside our lesson 1 package. So we have two classes now. My class is the first class which we were working on, and the second class is called student.java, and this is the second class we have created now. Now this class can have its member variables and methods. So for example, what can be the traits of the student? Student can have his ID. So ID is integer value, so I declare a variable called ID. Student can have name, so I declare a variable called name. And student can have age, his age, so I declare student age. Okay, so this is basically you have created a class and it can have member variables. It can also have member methods that we will see in a moment, but let's consider this is a basic student class which contains three variables: ID, name and age. Okay, now to call this class in your main method in my class, you can just create an instance of or object of the class. So how you can do it? You can just call the same name, student class name, just copy this name here and then give the name to your instance. So as we give any name to our variables, for example age, name or something, here also you can give the name to the students variable. Okay, so for example the name is Mark. We are making the data structure for Mark is equal to new student. Okay, and this basically we have created an instance of student class which we name as Mark. So this is a Mark instance. So Mark here, Mark, here is called object, okay, or some people also call it as instance, okay, instance. So mark is here called the object or instance, and this object we can use to assign values to the member variables of this student class. For example, marks id is so whenever you call this instance called mark, and whenever you use this dot separator, it will give you the options which is provided by Eclipse to you. So the student class contain age, id and name. So we will choose id. Student id is equal to, for example, 1. Mark is our first student, and in the same way you can call mark dot name, should be mark dot name is equal to, name is mark, we already know, and the age. So mark dot age is equal to, and he is 15-year-old, for example. So what we have done is we have created an instance of student class and we name it as mark, and then to this instance we have created or we have assigned some values, and these values we can access these values with the same names, mark.id, mark.name and mark.age. So you can just write sys o control shift, and then you can just write mark dot name is so you use plus or concatenation operator is, and then plus, and then mark dot age. So we will print mark is whatever his age is, years old, okay, years old, okay. And when we run this program, it will print mark is 15 years old, okay. In a similar way, we can create different instances of our classes, and so what we can do is I will just copy the same mark student class, and we will create a new object called, this time we call it Tom, okay. So here Tom is the second instance of the student class, okay, and his id is 2, name is Tom itself, and the age is for example 14, okay. So in here we can once again make the copy of this print line method, and this time we will just replace mark by Tom, and now you can see it prints Tom is 14-year-old. And is there something wrong here? Yeah, here we haven't changed this instance name here, okay. Once again we will run the program, and it says Mark is 15-year-old and Tom is 14 years old, okay. So using a class we can define different object, and we can define these object values of object member variable values which are independent of each other. So this instance values, which are id, Tom's name and Tom's age, is independent of Mark's id, Mark's name and Mark's age, okay. So this is a very important property of object, that it can store its own state and it's independent of the other instance, right? Now in in Java programming or programming in general, we never use, or this kind of usage, direct usage of variables are discouraged. And why it's discouraged? Because any other person or whoever is using your code can modify these values. So we use some some methods or some functions which can get or set these values. Okay, so what I mean by getting and setting these values is uh, I can go to this class called student, and in here I can just use I can just go to the source tab, and in here I can go to so we will go to the source and just go to generate getters and setters here, and here we can see operation is not applicable in current class. Okay, and in here we will just use this and click once again getters and setters. So just click one variable name or variable, then only this will work. So go to source once again and create getters and setters, and in here select all. So we are basically um, making getter and setter method for every value, because we don't want to use or we don't want to access these variable directly. We just create getters and setters for all of them, and whenever we click OK, you can see here Java has created us these getters and setters for all these values. Okay, and what this is basically doing is it has we whenever we want to assign some value to the id, we will use set id method, and whenever we want to get the value of id, we will use get method, and this is called encapsulation of a variable. And this is important because we don't want to give access to our variables to some other user which is unknown to us, right? And so now what we are going to do is we have generated these getters and setters in between our variables, so we can just cut these values and paste it here, and these getters and setters we have generated for all the values, right? So now when we want to assign some value to the mark instance, instead of this mark.id, we will just use mark dot set id or set id, and then we can give any id to mark, and this value assignment is we are not going to use. In the same way, we will use marks dot set name, and this name we will give to mark, and in the same way we will assign age to mark. So mark dot set age. Okay, age is 15, right? And in the same way we will do something with Tom's instance also. So Tom dot set id, Tom dot set name. So Tom dot set name, we will assign this name to Tom, and Tom dot set age, same thing here. So basically what we have done, we have used, instead of direct assignment, we are assigning values using these getters and setters, and this protects your data from corrupting if somebody wants to corrupt your data or something like this. Okay, and to get these value, you just call mark dot get name and mark dot get age. Okay, and same we will do with our Tom instance, and whenever we run the program, result will be same, but this is more preferred while you are accessing or assigning the values to the member variables. So this is how classes works in Java. There are more things to classes, which we will discuss in further videos, but that's it for this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.